As an infant, Superman was placed in a rocket ship and blasted away from the dying planet Krypton, only to be found on Earth by an elderly human couple named the Kents. As an infant, Moses was placed in a wicker basket and set down the River Nile to escape a life of slavery, only to be found and adopted by Egyptian royalty. Superman disguised himself as the human Clark Kent so that he could walk among mortals. In the apocryphal book of Tobit, the angel Raphael disguised himself as a human so that he could walk amongst mortals. Superman watched over Earth with his fellow superheroes from a base in the skies. Zeus looked down over the mortal world with his fellow gods and goddesses from Mount Olympus. Kryptonite was the only thing that could hurt Superman. Mistletoe was the only thing that could kill Balder, the Norse god of light. Superman was killed by his enemies and then brought back to life. The Egyptian god Osiris was killed by his evil brother Set and then brought back to life. The story of Superman and other comic superheroes bears more than a passing resemblance to ancient myths. A mistake would be to assume that their similarities are just the fact that they're both fanciful stories or made-up fairy tales. Myths are, to paraphrase John Verkake, perennial stories about human problems and dilemmas. Mythologist Joseph Campbell said every myth is psychologically symbolic. So to the extent that comic books behave like mythic stories, they're actually about the human condition and what it's like to be a person. Campbell was famous for coining the term the hero's journey to name a pattern that he and others had noticed recurring in mythic stories. The hero's journey has 16 or 17 individual steps, depending on how you interpret it, but it can really be boiled down into 3 stages. Departure. A potential hero leaves the safety and familiarity of the world they know. Initiation. That potential hero faces a series of trials and tribulations to win a boon or a treasure, and the return. Having won the treasure, they return to their old world to share it with their tribe. The hero's journey describes the pattern of how we as humans make our world better. It's the story of every invention, every cure, every good idea, every epiphany. You can see the hero's journey not just in ancient myths, but in modern media. It seems to make its way into the stories we tell as if it's a part of our storytelling DNA as humans. If you include a piece of the hero's journey in a story that you're telling intentionally, that story becomes more resonant, just like George Lucas did with Star Wars. We as humans seem to respond to the hero's journey without even realizing we're doing it. That's true if you're writing a screenplay, a novel, or a comic book. Going forward, this channel is going to dedicate itself to investigating the ways the hero journey has appeared in comic books, intentionally and unintentionally. If you yourself are creating comics, the hope is that you'll be able to look at this material and absorb it and then apply it to your own work. If you're just a comic fan, you'll be able to begin to understand why the stories that you love affect you in the way that they do. Whichever you are, or if you're neither of those, welcome.